This is the Cats and Pudding Podcast. A melting pot of pudding. And now, here's Jen.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Cats and Pudding. And today, I am just so excited because I have three of my favorite men in the world in this room right now.
Let's go, baby.
And we're going to be talking about San Gennaro. And this is going to be a monthly episode that we're going to be putting out. And we're going to be discussing the 100-year anniversary of the San Gennaro Feast. So these gentlemen that are here with me today have been a staple in Little Italy and in the San Gennaro Feast for many, many years. So I want to you guys introduce yourselves. Let's start with Vito.
Hello, everyone. Vito DePalo, born and raised in Little Italy, Hester Street. Been a member of the San Gennaro Festival for a while now, part of the board of directors. Excited to do the podcast and looking forward to what the future brings.
Hi, I'm Mario Capparelli, born and raised in Little Italy as well. Vito was one of my first childhood friends, and 65 years later, we're still together and
You're
doing
still his
podcast.
friend? Wow.
Well, sometimes he is, and sometimes he's not. But yeah, parents grew up there, big part of the feast. My great-grandfather was one of the founding fathers of the feast in 1926, which we'll talk about more later. But looking forward to doing this with you, Jen.
This is amazing. And last but not least,
Eugene Donofrio, San Gennaro Committee member, and I'm also the 100th anniversary committee chairperson. And first off, I want to thank you personally for taking a chance with us. It was a great night at the dinner.
Yes.
Where you came over to us and said, guys, I'd love to have you sponsor us for your podcast. And again, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here today.
well, I appreciate that. I'm glad that I could be part of this because this is an amazing part of an Italian American heritage and especially Italian New Yorker heritage. This is a big
Correct.
deal. You know, and this is something that I know I cherish in my heart, you know, going to the feast ever since I was a little girl. You know, this year was really amazing because I got to meet all of you.
Yes.
And
Yes, it
it's,
was.
you know, it's just a great thing. So does you guys want to start talking about the
Yeah, well,
feast,
first
or
I
what?
want to finish. Unfortunately, you know, Mario likes to brag. Vito was his first friend, but you know, I'm with Vito since first grade.
Yeah, but he was my
Okay,
friend
hold on.
before yours. So.
I moved to Normal, he moved to Normal. I moved to
Yeah.
Jersey, he moved to Jersey. I was born Hester Street, he was born Hester Street. So stop.
That's
All
right. We have
Let's
the Hester
get-
Street connection.
let's
That's
get that
true.
But we were
shit.
first friends.
Absolutely.
But
We always
I
say
did
it.
marry a cousin, and you are now our family.
Yes, brother.
And it's because of you and your great-great-grandfather that I am part of the San Gennaro Committee.
Thank you.
That's
so
amazing.
let's not forget that
Yes,
our great-grandfather is one of the original founders.
correct.
And I'm proud of that.
So what do you do as the committee to the feast? So I mean, is you guys run who is going to be like the vendors there? Was the church is involved too, right?
Yeah, the church is involved too, but I mean, obviously, there's a committee. I think we're 14 or 16 members. There are some guys like these two that are retired that do a lot more than I do. I'm still working. You know, you meet with the vendors. You have to get all their applications together, all their insurances. It's a long process. Which September is a long way away, but it's not.
Started already.
We
Yeah.
started it since
We're
October.
heading into our third meeting already.
Wow.
You know, it's the largest and longest running feast in the United States.
Right.
And it's also now the oldest.
Right.
But again, the amount of work that goes in, I would say 10 months, Vito.
Yeah. Once the San Gennaro Festival ends,
October's our first
we have
meeting.
a meeting. Yeah, we have a meeting in October, and we start planning for the next year, especially this year because it's the 100th anniversary.
Yeah.
There's even more going on.
Is there
But the
more people that are going to be this year, like more vendors, or
Vendors, actually, we've been pretty steady, but we're trying to break out more of Prince and Houston Street, so we have
Okay.
a lot more by the church. In the past, we were limited by what we could actually put by the church. St. Patrick's Cathedral is there, so we were limited. It's gotten a little better, so we're actually putting some more vendors there, some new and more bright vendors. So it's getting more exciting to be on Spring, between Spring and Houston Street. So it's really exciting time. So we're getting more vendors, but the process it's really around working with New York City,
Yes.
right? So it's really getting the permits in place, and all of the people in place, having meetings with them, understanding what our requirements are, understanding what the requirements are, and then understanding how many agencies, probably around 15 agencies, including
deal with.
FDNY,
Wow.
NYPD, Department of Housing, Department of Transportation, Department of Buildings, you name it.
Yeah, because it's not a weekend.
Sanitation, right?
Sanitation,
Forget
big
about
ones.
that.
Security,
Security.
fire department, because
Absolutely.
we're dealing with food, we're dealing with flame.
course,
we're
people
dealing with
could-
propane.
Yeah.
You know,
So
it's
part
not a
of our-
weekend festival. It's
Yeah.
a 10-day thing, and like Vito says, I don't mean to talk over him, but especially him, he does all the permits for the city. This kid sometimes midnight he's up still typing away.
That's why you're
But
the
it's-
computer genius.
Yeah, right. That's why I got stuck with. But it's just about the requirements, and we understand this is New York City. It's the most populous city, I think, in the world, and security is tight, but also the requirements. And understanding that we work with the city, and the city supported us for 100 years. So we're there and to understand what their requirements are and how we can actually abide by them, and that's what we do. But restrictions become tighter and tighter each year, and
Yeah.
we have to adjust. It's not the same playbook. So what we did last year is not necessarily what we're going to
gonna
do
happen,
this
yeah.
year.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
we have to work
exactly.
with them, and the
Plus,
city's
got new
very
administration
cooperative, and
coming
we're
in.
very happy to have administration that's been working with us and understanding how important this festival is. It's not only an Italian American festival; it's a New York City
festival.
And New York City, one of the things I loved about growing up in New York City is the diversity,
Diversity,
the melting
yeah.
pot of New York City. I grew up in Little Italy, only Italians at the time in the 70s and 80s. But guess what? When I went to high school at LaSalle Academy, shout out to LaSalle.
Yeah.
LaSalle.
We brought in,
St. Agnes.
it's right.
Let's go.
We brought in all the different communities, the Fourth Ward, which was down on Cherry Street underneath the
West
Brooklyn
Side.
Bridge, the West Side. But not only Italians, Puerto Ricans, African Americans, Chinese.
Asian
We went to,
Asian,
and
yeah.
we went to Transfiguration Elementary School in the
Three
heart
of
of
us.
Chinatown.
Right.
So our best friends are Chinese Americans.
Yeah.
So it's
and they're
really
part of the festival.
And they're part of the festival.
Exactly, and that's
Yes.
that's what people fail to understand. When I hear criticisms about, it's not the same anymore. New York City's not the same,
No,
right? It's
it's
about
not.
immigrants coming over.
Yes.
The Irish came in, the Italians, the Jewish, the Germans.
Greeks.
We're all here.
Yes.
Right now, it's time for all the other immigrants to come in
Absolutely.
and
they
enjoy
should be
New York
part
City
of it,
with
and
us.
they should be
And you
part
do
of it.
get, and as like Vito touched on a good point, you do get a little negativity from, believe it or not, the Italian Americans who used to come to San Gennaro Feast. They go, it's not the same. Well, like you said, New
They're
York
the
City's not
biggest
the
It's
same.
not the same.
And the reason why San Gennaro's around 100 years because people like us were able to adapt and change to the culture of the current neighborhood.
Yeah.
And that's why
Absolutely.
we're proud to say that we are around 100 years and we're going to continue to grow and continue to lead the way.
And you know what? And the people that participate appreciate that. And they appreciate that, yes, it is our Italian heritage that brought this together,
Absolutely.
the Feast of San Gennaro.
It started as a block party.
Right.
A bunch of Italian guys. Yeah, let's bring
know,
out
and
some
that's
food and
nice.
feed everybody in the neighborhood. It's, it's
Isn't
a
that
good idea.
amazing?
It
And
is.
yeah,
It
so
really
does
is.
it- so
At
does
the
it-
end of the day, this is still about San Gennaro. It's still about understanding the Napolitan people that came here and brought those traditions over to Mulberry Street. So 100 years, these people are celebrating San Gennaro. The
And how
Italian
many
American
movies
immigrants.
have
right.
been
Oh my God,
filmed in
movies.
Little
Oh my
Italy,
now
The
God.
Tulsa King.
Godfather, right?
We did Tulsa King with
Tulsa
Sylvester
King,
Stallone
San
this
Gennaro
year.
Two, Godfather 2, Godfather 3,
Three.
China Girl.
So you got China Girl. It's been in several movies. And you know what? But again,
There's a lot of history in
Oh,
Little Italy.
absolutely.
Yeah.
even though
For
the
us
some of the
especially. Mm-hmm.
culture has changed, I'm proud to say that in a 10-block feast, there's not one block where you cannot get a sausage and pepper sandwich,
true.
a Zapel, or a slice of pizza.
That's right.
Rice balls.
That's
Right.
right.
A rice ball.
But you do have to
cannoli.
understand that most people are coming there for the Italian stuff.
yes,
I mean,
of
that's
course.
what
Yeah,
it's
of
about.
course,
Not
of
that
course.
we don't
Correct.
you don't want any other, culture involved, but it is
Correct.
like if there is a Puerto Rican Day parade,
Right.
they're not going to say, "Oh, we don't want pizza" or something there. That's
No, right.
No, there's
but
different
we
cultures,
also
right.
people are coming for our
Absolutely.
our history
Well, and they
and
do
our
have the
food.
diversity of the stands, having the corn and the chicken and the other stuff, Mexican food and stuff like that, which is great because then maybe you come 3 times and you're tired of cannolis and zappalis,
Right.
so you go to something
You're
else.
tired of
How can
cannoli.
you-
Take that back.
I'm sorry.
We edit that
Don't
out.
tell Baby John that.
Baby
Don't tell
John,
what you gotta do with
sorry
Baby
about
John
that.
that.
Baby John, I know you're a pizza guy and a cannoli guy now. We'll get yelled at. Sorry about that. I'm
No,
gonna
but
get
the-
beaten tonight.
And what's really amazing also is it's not only the vendors coming in, but there's a lot of restaurants that we have still left in Little Italy
Yes.
that actually are open during the festival. Some put stands out, some actually open their restaurants for the people that
Yep.
attend the festival, and it's good for them. So it's good about small businesses, and it's also good for the vendors that come in to support San Gennaro.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. How do you feel like this year, now that it's the 100-year anniversary. What do you want to do differently now this year that's going to set it apart from the last years that you had?
Well, you got to understand something. You know, being Italian American is not. I hate the connection with the mob when you're Italian American because there's so much more to Italian Americans than what you see on TV as far as the movies. You know, we have Italian Americans who signed the Declaration of Independence. We have Italian Americans who served the longest time in orbit in space in the NASA program. You have the inventor of the nuclear reactor. It's just, you know, there's so much. So what we're doing this year is we're celebrating the 250 year of America. At the same year, we're celebrating 100 year of San Gennaro. So this year's theme is going to be Italian Americans who contributed to the birth of America. And those are the people we're going to be honoring.
Love that.
Yeah. With numerous floats and stuff like that. Yeah, we're honoring them.
And what about the Grand Marshal?
Well, the Grand Marshal, we decided, and you can let it out
well,
there.
I let it out. We're going to announce, I guess now it's going to be officially announced. This year's Grand Marshal is actually going to be San Gennaro himself.
Really? I love that.
Yes.
I think that's a great
We have
idea.
all the saints from all the years dating
Love
back
that.
from the original saint, and all 4 saints will be on the float. And we might even have a character dressed up. Maybe Mario, dressed up as San Gennaro.
Wait, so you have a character? You know, and maybe we will try to bring back some of the older
That would be nice.
Grand Marshals,
Yeah.
which
Maybe we could
they've
have
been
like a
asking us.
hologram of San Gennaro.
Yeah, we could do that. Like Kathy
From
Narducci
Naples.
was one, Chaz Palminteri was, Joe
Sciarippa.
Causey, Steve Sciarippa, Joe Piscopo.
Piscopo, yeah.
Mike Imperioli, right?
Yeah.
Was he one too?
Yeah,
He
I
was
mean,
going to be, but he got caught up in the Lotus.
Okay.
Just from the
Gotcha.
Lotus, so he had to back out.
Mike
last minute.
Massimino, who he said about
Mike
astronaut. Mike
Massimino,
Massimino, 6'8" astronaut.
I
The
was
guy wouldn't
hoping
go on a
you would
roller
give it-
coaster. He wouldn't go on a roller coaster. The guy was in orbit for years.
Yeah.
So
We'll
yeah,
figure that one out.
yeah, some really
Wow.
amazing, you know, and hopefully we could get in touch with them and get them back.
I'm
We're
hoping
friends with
you
a
get
bunch
the
of them.
Italian president to come.
Yeah, that would be the security
great.
would be
Yeah,
insane.
Giorgio
I think.
That would be
Meloni. That would be
insane.
amazing.
One of our committee members is actually in contact.
with Italy.
that, and there is some talk.
Wow,
That
that
it
might
could be a
amazing.
possibility.
And that would bump
but-
Gennaro then. He would bump Gennaro.
I don't know. Nobody bumps the big guy. Nobody bumps. Maybe
Yeah, no,
on,
yeah, we'll
on
put him
a
a sign
guest.
next to him.
On
Put
a
him there.
guest.
On
On
a
a guest. On a guest.
Yeah, we're also thinking about actually doing some streaming from the cathedral in Naples,
Right,
because
the
the miracle of San Gennaro is about his blood and liquefying the blood, and it happens every September 19th. And Naples and the church in Naples and the bishop in Naples reports back to us in the U.S. to say whether or not the miracle
Blood
of San
liquefied.
Gennaro happened, and it does every year. Thankfully, I think
It
there was
does
two-
happen every year?
There's 2 or 3 times that it didn't happen, and there was things happening in the world, which is pretty ironic.
Yes.
That it didn't liquefy because I guess San Gennaro and the holy ones there were not happy.
Happy with
what
what
was
was-
current events. So I believe that wholeheartedly. So we're looking to do that once again because especially 100 years in the U.S., I think it's a big deal, even for the Italians in Naples, understanding that the immigrants that they came over, their ancestors, are celebrating this
And we're still doing
wonderful
it.
miracle 100 years later.
It's just amazing.
There was only 2 years that we
gotta
didn't
realize
do it.
It started on one block, one building.
Yeah,
One
126
building, and
Mulberry
they would
Street.
decorate. They would decorate the building, and all the Italian mothers would just bring food out from their kitchen, put it on the table, and people would come by. And there was no money exchange, just celebrating the miracles of San Gennaro. And then the following years, you know, other blocks got jealous. Oh, well, if the Nalbedans could
I'm
do
gonna-
it,
I'm gonna
if the
do this.
Nalbedans could do it, maybe the Calabrese can do
Yeah.
it, and maybe the Sicilians can do it. Before you know, we were all the way up Elizabeth Street. And now instead of decorating buildings, we were decorating streets.
Yeah,
Love
to
it.
put Christmas lights up on their fire escapes.
Exactly.
I love
Literally,
that.
we had, oh my God, growing up, I remember, you know, probably from April until September, there were processions and little feasts going
Yeah,
on
correct.
every
Right.
weekend. Because you had the
Saint
Sicilians
Anthony.
on Elizabeth Street with St. Calogero, St.
Yeah.
Vito, St. Rocco. You had
Saint
obviously.
Anthony's.
So
Yeah.
my father ran for the Bades and Giovinazzi. They brought St. Anthony di Padova over.
Yeah.
My dad used to run the feast on Mott Street. It
Ah.
only used to be 2 blocks. They used to call it the Little Feast, and they used to compete with the one on the west side on
yeah.
Sullivan
And
Street.
then they combine.
No, they
them.
No,
just,
they
they
didn't.
kept separate.
They did.
You had the Immaculate Conception.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Immaculate St. Teresa.
I was president of
So
one
it
of
was
those.
good because
That's right.
every weekend you would hear like a band playing in the street, and you
Yes.
know a procession was happening. So it was wonderful growing up in Little Italy
Oh, God.
during the 70s
That's
and 80s.
beautiful.
Every you had the Calabrese with their feast, you had the Napolitans, the Sicilians, you name it. Whoever was in Little Italy brought those traditions over and celebrated them.
Right.
I love it.
Thankfully, Napolitans, they lasted with San Gennaro, the most biggest festival, I believe, in the U.S., is still going on for 100 years.
Yes.
And I think that's still the only one. There are processions, there are masses that we have. St. Anthony, St. Rocco, there's
Yeah.
a few, St. Calogero,
Yes.
Most Precious Blood, which is the national shrine for the U.S., San Gennaro. Obviously, we have all of the saints in there. And we actually look at processions and even trying to bring St. Anthony procession back. But it's really around keeping that tradition, together with all of the people that remain in Little Italy.
Yeah.
And,
like I said, there was only
immigrants.
2 years they didn't
Yeah.
do, which was 9/11. It was set up
Yeah,
for the
COVID.
feast.
And who couldn't
that
go
week.
after that?
And,
I mean,
and then
and
COVID
COVID.
of
COVID, obviously.
2020.
We did the procession, though.
We did the procession. We did the mass.
we did the mass.
The pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah, the
The
pandemic. Yeah,
pandemic.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
I will
this,
tell you this though. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, no.
Our family is from Napoli, and we still have family there, obviously. And our grandfather actually visited there in the early '70s, and he would brag how San Gennaro, he was involved in San Gennaro. He was one of the longest presidents.
well, he
of
was.
your grandfather.
My grandfather sat at
He was one of
the
the longest
same
members,
11
40
days in the
yeah.
feast. Him and my
I would say
grandmother.
at least
We'll
50,
show some
60
pictures
years.
during the year and show it.
Yeah,
Oh,
it'd be
for
a
years.
minimum.
For
50
years.
years, at
Amazing.
least minimum.
Yeah.
So-
He loved his heritage. He loved his San Gennaro.
When I visited, Italy to our cousins, they look at us as Americanos.
Yes.
You're American, you're not Italian. We're like, all right, fine. I got to take it where it comes from. Then now, I'm American. It is what it is. But Vito and I, and a good friend Anthony, we make our own wine. We bottle our own wine. And they were bragging how good their wine is. Now, I sat there Palm Sunday dinner with them, and the guy brings out a plastic Coca-Cola bottle with wine in it. And
And it's apropos that it's in a Coca-Cola bottle.
Exactly.
That's American.
Exactly.
And they're going to
he's
talk
telling
about
how proud he is,
American. Yeah.
how proud he is to have
Really.
this wine. And when my kids and I
You said,
tasted
what are you
it,
serving me, Coke? I
yeah,
thought you
it
were
was-
Americano.
you could put hair on your chest. It was that bad. I mean, they did it in September and they're bottle and they're serving it in December. Whereas a winemaker, it's not ready. Following year, I go back and we bring our wine, and I made them all taste it. They're actually fighting over the bottle. And by the time I left there, they said to me, they go, "You're not American. Between San Gennaro and your wine, you're Italiano."
Yeah.
So that was a great compliment.
That was great.
Coming from the Italians in Naples, knowing what we do for San Gennaro and
Yeah.
how we make our wine. And it was just a great experience. And it was a great
Best of
compliment.
I
both
love
worlds,
that.
Italian and Americans. I mean,
Yeah, no doubt about
I
it.
love that. But there's nothing like Italian Americans from New York. There's just
No,
something
no,
about
no,
them.
100%.
Right? There's just
Yeah,
something
it's-
about us.
Growing
right?
up, growing up, again, Vito said, that probably, in my opinion, obviously, we're biased to it, Little Italy was the best place to grow up in your life. You could be out 2 o'clock in the morning.
My father lived in Italy when he first came here. When they first came
in the
here,
end, Little Italy?
and
Oh,
then they
wow.
moved to Greenpoint. But they lived there when he was a kid. He was he
Yeah,
was young.
my uncle had a flower shop.
Because that's where they all came when
Yes.
that's why
Correct.
they called
And
it
then
Little
they
Italy
brought it out
because
to
they
Long
brought all the
Island or
immigrants
Staten
there,
Island.
right?
That's right.
But yeah, we used to sit in
That's
front of
what
my
it's all
uncle Jimmy Vitale had a flower shop and a funeral parlor, and they'd bring out their beach chairs or folding chairs, and we'd sit out there till 2 in the morning.
because,
In the summertime, somebody would run and get maybe McDonald's that was open on West 4th Street.
Chinese food.
We'd be
McDonald's.
sitting
Sit on the
outside.
stoop.
Sit on the
Yes.
stoop. Just sit there.
Nobody
and
understands the stoop
conversation.
unless
No,
you live
no.
in New York. They
And
don't
this-
get it.
And you didn't have to worry about anything happening.
Or cleaning a stoop, with
Cleaning
the
a stoop.
Italian broom,
Right.
right? With the
Italian
hose.
broom,
The
you know,
Italian
hose.
broom is the hose.
But to his point, often I thought about, growing up in New York City, all the people, such density. I always thought about, I wonder what it's like growing up in a small town somewhere, like in the Midwest, like in Idaho. Like population 300 or 400.
Yeah.
Then I was thinking to myself, you
It's
know
kind of
what?
like it was like that for you guys.
It was like growing up in a small town. Little
Yeah.
Italy was so
Correct.
insulated.
You're right. You're right. That's
Looking
how I feel
back,
like, right,
Yeah.
it was like growing up in a small town in
Yeah.
Des Moines, Iowa, somewhere.
But it's-
Really, and everyone
I
knew each
agree.
other.
No, I didn't realize.
Everyone
That's a
went to
great
the
point.
same church.
Yeah.
Everyone knew each
You
other's
knew
business.
everybody.
My father had a business
But I
there.
feel like
It was
it's like
amazing,
that.
amazing
Even where I
time.
grew grew up in Howard Beach.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. Everybody knew everybody. We all went to the same church. We all went to the same
You're
butcher.
married from the same
married the
neighborhood.
same people,
Just
the
like
same
in a small
neighborhood.
town.
Small town. It's. I think that's just the way we are as a. I mean, I think
That's
most
gone, though,
cultures
in a
are like
lot-
that.
yeah, but it's gone.
I think most cultures do that. They
Yeah.
gravitate
Yes,
to their
you're
own,
right.
and you're gonna
Yes.
stay with your like people, and it's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing.
It's just
You marry your third cousin, whatever.
as long as it's not the first, because then we're gonna have some
I would
problems.
tell you
Then.
one thing, like great point you're all making. Growing up, it is like a small town because my mother would open up the window, yell my name out, just yell my name.
True.
I'd be 6 blocks away up on Spring
And
Street.
you'd hear her.
No. Every corner, your mother's calling you. Your mother's calling. You better get home. Your mother's calling. You. Oh shit!
We didn't have
Guys,
watches.
Right, guys, I gotta go. My mother's calling.
I was just talking about that too.
There was no cell phone.
No, I was talking about that on Instagram. And I mean, I'm a Gen Xer. I know you guys are a little bit
just a
older
little
than
bit.
me.
A little bit.
I'm
But
the ancient guy.
I remember when I was a kid, my parents, they didn't even know I was outside. There used to be a commercial.
Oh,
They used
yeah.
to remind them
Yeah.
at 10 o'clock,
God,
do you know where your kids are? I forgot. We were
Channel
outside.
5,
Yeah.
Fox
That's
News
the
still
truth.
does
That's
it.
Can you
the truth.
imagine? Like, just every night they would say that.
But you knew to come home for 5:30, 5:45 to eat dinner.
Yes.
6
If you were
o'clock.
hungry, you
The
went
church
home.
bells do.
Rang, you went
Church
home.
bells are dead giveaway.
You ate. And you waited 5 minutes. Can I go back out and play? And we went back out and
Church
play.
bells
No
are dead
Xbox,
giveaway.
no. And
No
you met your
homework.
friends, same group of kids that you left the early party after school. You went and played handball, stickball, whatever. Johnny on the Pony. all
It
those
comes to
games.
show you again, with growing up in San Gennaro Festival, growing up as friends. Here we are, 60 years later, and we're still hanging out with each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no group of
There's
friends.
no,
I
you
think
know-
that with no real. Well, I mean, we've had arguments, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but
but
we've never
fight.
had a qualm where we didn't talk to each other for more
Never. That
than
never
2 weeks.
existed.
Yeah.
That
Do
never
anything like
existed.
that. This is a unique. I consider it. I talk to people and they go, "Oh, I haven't seen my friends in 30 years." I would die.
Me too.
I would literally die.
I
if
have
didn't see
friends
these
that I've
guys
been friends with
more
since
than
I'm 4 years
2
old.
weeks.
That I
Yeah,
still
and
talk to.
this group of guys.
I love
here,
this.
And there's more than
That
us
makes
than
me
this.
happy.
You know.
We built our lives around our friendship.
I love it.
We never made life get in the way. Our friendship was part of our life.
Played softball together.
Vito's the godfather of my children.
Yeah.
Anthony,
They were my
Mario,
bridal party,
I'm
these
in the
guys.
we're in
I
each other's
love-
bridal party.
He was the first one of our friends to get married at
Vito-
21
Surprised you
years
didn't
old.
marry each other.
21 years old.
I was like, what are you,
Wait, if you
crazy?
took that wife, okay, we got three the same brains. They tell you.
I got married 3 days after my 21st birthday, Jen. I'd kill my kids if they told me they were doing that now. But these gentlemen were my bridal party, and he fell in love with my cousin at the wedding.
At the wedding. Yeah.
Actually, at the shower. At the
I
shower.
love that.
And you think she'll like me? And my,
Right,
and my
right
wife.
next to Precious Blood Church.
Right. And my wife
Home
said,
of San Gennaro.
I'll talk to her
love
for you.
it.
So, off the subject, but I was in an apartment in Brooklyn, 72nd and 18th, and I said, Gene, you do some electrical work in the apartment? So I said, maybe I'll make Maria come to make it look like she's helping us. And then we went out to Sheepshead Bay that night to my friend Patty, who was another member. He was
Another
the
member.
DJ.
Yep.
At club, what was it? It was I forget the name.
La Chic
La
Club?
Chic or something.
The Chic, oh,
Yeah,
that's
he was the
Yeah.
DJ
Or
there.
Pastels,
And the
it
rest
could
is
have been.
history. 3 kids later, grandkids later.
I love that.
It's just an amazing thing.
I
I got
think you
6
guys are
grandchildren now.
amazing.
But one thing,
It's
one thing I will
amazing.
tell you, Jen. Now, not to brag, but getting back to what we were discussing earlier, you being from Howard Beach, I know when Labor Day came around, how disappointed you were because of school. Was
Yes,
coming.
I was.
Whereas us,
I was. Oh no, but it was my birthday, so it wasn't that
it wasn't that
bad.
bad.
So it wasn't that bad for me.
We loved when Labor Day came because we knew in 10 days the best time of our life was just about to come. The St. John Festival was
that's
right around the
great.
corner.
I
and
love
then you
that.
have no idea how fast that first month of school went for us because we had the feast.
That's so much fun
You know,
because
it
you
was
got to
just-
come home every day and the
Exactly.
feast was going
Exactly.
on. So
We
you-
go back to 4 years old together. I was dressed as a soldier, like a G.I. Joe, protecting the princesses, and Vito was dressed as the
Carabinieri.
Carabinieri,
Italian policeman.
And we would sit on the float or
I
walk
love
with the
that.
procession to protect them. And then years went by, and then I'd carry a flag, and then leading up to now being the board of directors. So our lives, and you'll find out over the next 7 or 8 episodes the deep details of what we've done and what we're doing.
I love that.
Yeah, it was.
And I
it's
can't
amazing.
wait to get to know all this over the set. And we're going to have a lot more episodes.
We're touching
to
the surface
go.
right now. We're teasing you.
Right now, we're
Yeah.
just teasing.
we're just-
so
Speaking of teasing,
it's just the teasing. So
Yeah, so if anybody saw our little teaser, I'll give you a quick rundown of it, what was based on it, little in the windows that were hidden in the windows that were in there. So when Mario comes in and says, Gene, trust me, you're going to need a priest. Well, Mario's actually on the mass committee, where every year, because the most precious blood being less and less, unfortunately, it's one day a week, most precious blood church. Everybody goes up to St. Patrick's now. We always have a hard time finding a priest. So when Mario says, Gene, I took care of everything, but we're going to need a priest. And then when Vito says, I said to Vito, you got to make sure this gets done right, because God forbid if we screw something up, the city will reject our permit.
Yes.
So Vito has to make sure he dots all the I's and dots all the T's.
I have a feeling that he'll do that.
You know, exactly.
Yes, he will.
You know,
And that's the truth.
I feel
and
he'll do
that's the fact.
The
And then when I
facts.
say that,
The
when I say at the
facts.
end of the teaser, I say, guys, relax, because no matter what, on the 19th, there's always that miracle.
Yeah.
There's always blood.
And that's the
that's
liquefication of the blood,
blood of San
September
Gennaro.
19th, San
So
Gennaro.
it sounded a little
in
bit
Naples.
mobbish, but it was a tease. It was
Really?
real the truth
It was
and
the
facts.
truth. It was the
And it's
truth.
gonna- and
The-
it's
the
gonna
facts.
happen. And it's going to happen. I am so glad that we started the podcast today, and I'm
And
glad.
we owe it to you.
Well,
Yeah.
And
Those
we
two-
want to. Can we give a
take
shout
the
out to
chance.
Chow TV?
Yes, please
Chow
give a
TV
shout.
will be carrying our podcast as well as YouTube, and they came on board when Eugene
Immediately.
posted it, and they came on board right away. We appreciate Joe
Had a
Barone
beautiful
and his
kickoff
people.
dinner for
We had a
us.
kickoff dinner at
Jen was
Patricia's
invited.
at Tauntonville, and Jen was
Yeah, it was
busy that
really
night.
nice.
But yeah, we.
Chow
and let
USA.
everybody know
Chow
if
USA.
they want to be vendors, give them information.
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
who to
Vito
call.
can do that.
So yeah, we start taking applications around July, and they can find it on our website, sangennaronyc.org. The new application will be downloaded. Like I said, we have different regulations every year, especially with propane tanks. We won't get into that now. But basically what we'll do is have these meetings with the city, and then we'll actually whatever new requirements we have will be incorporated into new application, which should be around June, and then you could download the application, and you'll
And we'll
also
have that all put up too when
Yep.
we do the next step.
and you'll have all the
We're ready to
information.
do it.
Yeah.
You have all the information to download
cool.
the application and also present it to us in person when we accept applications for the vendors.
Well, I'm so glad you gentlemen came on today.
Yeah.
This is so much
Thank you,
fun.
Janice.
I
I'm
can't wait for the
excited. I'm
next.
actually
I
excited
can't wait for the next
Yeah.
episode
Can't
already.
Episode
can't
one
wait
in the
to start
books.
talking
Episode
Gennaro.
one, talking Gennaro,
Talking
baby.
You're the
Gennaro,
fun, baby.
Talking Gennaro. I'm so glad that these gentlemen came on today, and stay tuned for our next episode in next month. And thank you for tuning into Cats and Pudding.